Today I'm going to show you how to get honey out of the beehive and into the jar. We start the process with the smoker. We light the smoker on fire with pine needles, and the smoke actually helps to calm the bees a bit. They rely so much on smell that this sort of disorients them a little bit, makes it a little bit easier for us to manipulate them and move them to where we want them to go and so forth. So we have to get our smoke working first, and once it's ready to go, then we get into the beehive. This is just a look at one of the frames that has honey in it. This frame here is not capped over. Now, normally what we're looking for is pure white on the outside where the bees have capped it over. Now we're looking more into the brood chamber here, and this is where the bees live most of the time.
You can really hear that sound.
They're hitting me now.
It's starting to rain.
All right, I'm going to give you a little demonstration how we get the bees, first of all, out of the hive so that we can work with them. What we do is we take some nice organic stuff called Bee Quick, and this has a smell of almonds. For some reason the bees don't like it, and it pushes them down into their hive. This is their hive here. What we do is we spray a few sprays on this device called a fume board. It's got felt in here. We usually heat this up with the sun, and it's kind of heat activated. We spray it on there, we put it on top of the hive for about 5 minutes, and we give it a little time. Most of the bees now have gone down inside the hive, and now we can work with them. And then we start pulling the frames out individually. And if there's still bees on there, we'll take my bee brush. In fact, there's a bee right there, decided to come and visit us. And this is full of honey. And then we just brush the rest of the bees off like that, and away we go. Here's a closer look at a frame that's full of honey, and you can see that the bees have capped it over with wax so that they can store it to eat later. We always leave plenty of honey in the beehive so that the bees don't go hungry during the winter months. This is the honey extractor, and it is a centrifuge that spins around. We'll cut the caps off of the honey in a second with a knife that I'll show you. And then this spins around once we put the frames in there, and you'll see how that all works. And then the honey is flung out and then drips down the side and comes out in this little part here, and then goes through a series of 3 filters. These are our filters, and then it just drips into the bucket and it's ready to go, and that's all we have to do. Next, we cut off all of the wax cappings with a hot electric knife, and this exposes the honey so that we can spin it out later. The part that doesn't come off very cleanly with the knife, we go in with a fork and then just kind of rough it up a little bit so that the honey is exposed. And once we're finished doing this, we'll just take the frame and put it into the extractor. Like this. Once it's all balanced, we start to spin it out. And if you look down inside there, you can see the honey starting to come off already. And now we just flip them over so that we get the other side of the frame. Just got to flip all 4 of them over and we spin again. When I finished extracting the honey, I got over 5 gallons of honey, about 6 gallons altogether. So this is a 5-gallon bucket, and it's all filtered now and ready to be poured into the jars. So that's the next step. And the final step is we put a nice label on the jar, seal it up, and that's it. And that's how you get honey from the beehive into the jar.